entry for June 27th, 2013, entitled, "For Those of You Who've Crossed the River." Coughing and sputtering up water, an exhausted figure climbs desperately ashore, collapsing into the dry sand. For a while he just rests, breathing heavily and thanking the universe that he made it across. Behind him, a vast bubbling river swirls and churns, filled with splintered logs and razor-sharp rocks. Alongside the man extends a wide, empty beach, and in front, a thick, untamed wilderness. Finally, after summoning enough strength to sit up, the man stares back over the immense water he just accomplished. It had been a difficult and dangerous journey with numerous close calls. Among the waves and splashes, he can see other brave swimmers attempting to cross. Some are near completion, others far on the other side. He can also just make out the other beach, where many people are standing and observing the waters. Beyond that, a world where we all come from, the previous life before we realized the river was even there. The man sits and watches some of these people inspect the waters. Some casually glance at it and turn away, content with their own little world and uninterested in what the waters possess. Others are more interested and dip a toe in, perhaps even wading to their thighs, but ultimately turn around and retreat to the safety of the shoreline, either confused at why they would want to continue further or just scared of the unknown. Others begin their swim, some slowly easing in and others with a sprint and a dive. But the man notices an interesting observation. Almost none of the swimmers look across the water to the shoreline he sits at. They are only focused on the water immediately in front of them. Interesting, he wonders. Was I that unaware when I first began? Did I really not see the shoreline on the other side? He switches his gaze to the river itself and watches people struggling to swim the murky water. A good portion of excited swimmers quickly look panic-stricken and turn around to either wade in shallower waters or return to the shore. They appear unfit or insecure in their abilities to make the journey. Perhaps at a later time, the man thinks, once they've grown a bit more. Most of the swimmers, though, are well on their way towards the middle of the river, but the man again notices a look of worry and concern that is slowly growing on their faces. Perhaps they are questioning the legitimacy of what they've been told. Is swimming this river really worth it? Is there really a bank on the other side at all? Was I hoodwinked into believing something entirely of fiction? Others are more concerned with their internal constitution and whether they'll even have enough energy and determination to stick with it until the end, especially since the end isn't even in sight. What are we even swimming towards, they wonder. And this is when the man sees various individuals here and there turning back or getting swept away down the stream. Most find themselves climbing back on the other shore, but some are caught in vortexes of swirling water, making the same strokes but no progress, almost as if they're trapped and lost within the waters. And worse yet, some swimmers have disappeared, sucked under by the current, forever lost to the mystery of these waters. The man finds himself calling out, a tear streaking down his cheek. Memories of himself struggling through the same challenges flash through his mind. If only I could reach them and tell them how to succeed. But the man is unwise and does not yet realize that the bubbling waters are changing and that specific instructions do not necessarily help. In fact, they can harm, even if the intention is good. For what seems like an eternity, the swimmers continue ahead, but the pack is growing light. More and more individuals are being swept away or giving up, still unable to see the shoreline, unaware of how close they really are. The man at one point stands and shouts because one swimmer is mere meters from the shoreline and decides to turn back. How close he has come! This is terrible, the man yells in frustration. Watching further, he sees a few key individuals who have stopped swimming and are calling others over. This swimming guru is attempting to teach others how to swim the current, but almost all of his followers cannot swim any further than he, for they are limited to his skill. Only a small handful realize this and leave him, swimming in the moment and tackling the challenges as they come. For a long while, the man watches all this go on, amazed that this challenge is not attempted by more people. He himself had not even heard of this bubbling river for many years and had only stumbled upon it by accident. He looks along the beach and sees not a single soul. Of all those swimmers, no one has made it yet, and for days, weeks, months, and even years he could sit without seeing anyone climb ashore. And then it dawns on him that his friends and family will probably never make it. How have we not addressed this, he wonders. It seems with all that the other world is composed of, someone could have been a guide along the way, or technology could have helped bridge the gap. Or what about a clearer view of the other beach? Perhaps if people knew what they were swimming towards, they'd try even harder. More and more questions begin to pile up, and the man realizes his journey isn't over. The water was just the test, the first step towards challenging himself and growing as a person. He stands up and gives the river one last look, emotion welling up inside. He says a quiet goodbye to his former life and turns to the tall trees and thick forest in front of him. Perhaps there's something on the other side, he says, and steps within.